On Sunday, a man returning from war passed a church. He noticed that the community were inside attending the service. He went inside and sat down. Removing his deck of cards during the service and fanning them out before him, the locals noticed and complained, and they called the police. The man was arrested and had to see the magistrate the next morning. The judge asks, "How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?" The man replied, "Not guilty, Your Honour, and may I explain?" With that, he fanned the cards out before him. "Your Honour," he started, "to me this deck of cards is my prayer book and Bible. When I look into these cards and see an ace, it reminds me that there is only one God. When I see the 2, it reminds me that the Bible is divided into 2 parts, the Old and New Testaments. When I see the 3, it represents the 3 persons of the Blessed Trinity, Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. When I see the 4, it reminds me of the 4 great evangelists who wrote the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. When I see the 5, Your Honour, I think of the 5 virgins who kept their lamps trimmed in waiting for the coming of the Lord. When I see the 6, it reminds me that in 6 days God made this great heaven and earth. When I see the 7, it represents the Sabbath, a day of rest and worship. When I see the 8, it reminds me of the 8 righteous persons who were saved from the flood, Noah, his wife, the 3 sons and their wives. When I see the 9, I'm reminded of the 9 lepers who were cleansed of their sins but did not give thanks. Such was their ingratitude. When I see the 10, not only do I think of the 10th leper who did give thanks, but of the 10 commandments handed down by Moses on the stone tablets, each spot for 1 commandment. Now, Your Honour, the jack reminds me of the knave of the devil, and to shun his temptation. When I see the Queen, I think of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who is Queen of Heaven. The King is, of course, the King of heaven and earth and all things, to whom we should all bow down and give thanks. He folded up the deck of cards, shuffled them once, fanned them out before him, then he continued, "Your Honour, when I look into this deck of cards, I see that there are 365 spots, as there are 365 days in each year. The Joker stands for the leap of the year, 366 days. There are 52 cards in the deck. There are 52 weeks in a year. There are 12 facing cards in the deck, representing the 12 months of each year. Actually, there are 13 lunar months in a year, represented by the 13 cards in each suit. Speaking of the suits, the deck is divided into 4 suits, clubs, diamonds, hearts and spades. And as we know that the year is divided into 4 seasons, summer, winter, spring and fall. Lastly, Your Honour, this deck of cards has 2 colours, red and black. The red stands for the daylight and the black for the night. So you see, Your Honour, not only is this deck of cards my prayer book and Bible, it is also my almanac." With that, the Honour hit his gavel and said, "Case dismissed."